I'm Elaine Correia, and I'm here to share with you some insights that I have received uh, about working with the soul and my soul, and I would love to share with you some insights about how to access your soul, because I have discovered that the soul is the most important part of who we are, and it's always expressing through us. So let me see if I can get my screen to share here. Oops, let's see. Okay. You can see that okay, Cindy?
Yes, I can
Oh,
see that.
perfect. Thank you. So in this era that we're going through right now, it's really hard to know what's coming up next and where to turn, or, how to have some sort of a sense of security and safety. I mean, things are just totally in chaos right now. So we struggle, it's like we automatically struggle to try and maintain some sort of a semblance uh, of certainty, or what is comfortable. And, we seek something that's stable in our lives, especially with the more chaos that we have going on around us. So to weather the storm, it becomes important to find and connect with that inner part of us that is constant, that thrives no matter what is happening in this outer world. That part of us is our soul. And this provides us a foundation and a support and a structure in so that we are unaffected by what's going on outside in the outer world. And we can connect with this, and our soul will give us guidance so that we can thrive in these changing and chaotic times. So I'd love to introduce to you today the concept that you are a physical expression of your soul, that your soul is constantly expressing through you. And so um, I would like to also show you how your soul is expressing through you, and how your birth charts actually help to identify some of these pieces and help you understand more about yourself. So you're invited to bring the magical powers of of your soul into your personal daily life. Okay. So what is your soul? The soul it lives in a non-physical reality, and in a different realm than our 3D physical world, and generally can't be seen or felt unless you can really see, unless you can see auras or feel energy or sense energy fields. It can be, we can feel it though, because, it's always radiating from us. And in 1907, Duncan MacDonald did some experiments, and he proved that the soul actually has weight. It has some substance, and it weighs 21 grams. So there are two basic theories about the soul. One is in Western religions, it has that the soul is in the body and takes the shape of the body. That in Genesis, it talks about how the Lord God formed matter, formed man from dust, and then he blew, he breathed into the dust and breathed life into it. So generally speaking, the soul is considered to be what animates us. It's the spirit that animates us. It's what brings us life. It makes us alive. So in other traditions, the soul, or it's also called the Atman, was credited with the ability to enliven the body. And it's said by ancient anatomists and philosophers that it's located in the lungs and the heart. And Descartes said it was in the pineal gland. So generally it is thought that the soul lives inside the body and takes the shape of the form that it's living. Now, the shaman and indigenous cultures believe that the soul expands around the body. We're sort of like in this big egg of energy, and which would relate to the auras. And and that our soul essence is permeating the whole being of us, not only the physical, but all the other layers of it too. This essence of our soul permeates us, and it's what animates us and lets us enjoy the lives that we're living. So the indigenous people also believed that there was a soul in everything, in the plants and the trees and the animals, in the rocks, in the planet, in everything. Everything had a soul. And so, that brought about a certain amount of respect for all life and all life forms. So, so you can, take whichever way you want, but the bottom line is that our soul is what animates us and is what's expressing through us all of the time. So when you get an understanding of that, then you're able to you're able to navigate life much more efficiently and have a lot more happier life. So our soul is basically a high vibrational state of love and light. And so that's who we are at the very core of our beings. We are basically the divine in a physical expression. Okay. So why do you want to connect to your soul? I mean, what's such a big deal about it other than the fact that it's what's animating us, giving us life? So this concept of the soul came home to me, probably about a year ago when I started taking and practicing a protocol that Tiffany Pollard, she teaches aroma acupoint. She had a protocol for using essential oils for working with and helping ground and dealing with energies of the world for empaths. And so one of the oils she used was vetiver. And vetiver, you take and put a drop on your finger and you put it on the base, the soles of your feet, at the kidney 1 point, and you do this little meditation. You hold that point and you do this little meditation. Well, the thing about vetiver is it's one of those plants they use for stabilizing ground because it has such deep roots and it's a very sturdy grass. And so the meditations talked about taking and imagining these deep roots going into the earth to anchor us in our, the physical form into this physical world. Well, it wasn't too long after that I had this bright idea that, well, these roots expand beyond this physical world and they go into all the realms of your soul. And so they actually are connected into our soul, and through our roots, our soul essence comes into our physical form. And so we can, it helps us thrive and it nourishes us and it guides us in just being who we are. So, so that was one of my, an interesting realization that I made. And so I've been playing with that concept ever since. And, I realized that my soul is my home and it provides me the foundations that I need. It's always there. No matter what's going on in the outer world, it's always there. It's always stable. And it gives me a structure and a form so that I can navigate life a little easier, and it gives me guidance on what's the best choices for me to do. So we are not just a body, a mind, or emotions, or spirit, like back in the 1800s, they had the separation of mind and spirit and body and all that stuff. We are a composite of all these aspects, and it is the blending of these energies that makes us unique. Yet at the same time, we are one energy with everything. We are all of the same energies. And so this is a paradox that we live with. How can we be separate, yet we are all one? So the real trick is when you master this paradox of uniqueness and oneness, then we've really mastered knowing how to be a spirit living in as a human being, living in a human form. Is this all making sense to you?
Kind of, Elaine. Waiting to hear more.
Okay. Okay, so how does the soul work through us? Well, probably is about 12 years or more ago, I studied with Andrea Hess, her soul realignment program, which talked all about how to access the Akashic Records and learn about your soul's history and your soul traits. And so from this accessing the Akashic Record, which is also known as like the Hall of Records or the Temple of Records, it's where all the life experiences, I guess you could call them life experiences, of the soul are recorded. And, you know, the wisdom is there, the karma, the blocks, all the things that have happened at the soul level is recorded in your personal record in the Akashic Record. And so when a person accesses that information, you have access to who is your soul family. What these are like energies of like mind, we'll say. They are working with kind of similar themes, like there's some star families that are spiritual teachers, and there's some star families that like to improve on things, and there's some that are eternal optimists, and there's some that are just they're the stabilizers. And so you've got certain star families that our souls are affiliated with, or you know, have they're like our family. We work together all the time. And then we also, each soul has a specific set of energy. I hesitate to use the word training, but it's not quite specialization, but it's kind of both. It has an area where it specializes, that it practices, that it's got a lot of experience in. And, you know, and so these generally relate to the chakras, but they're, you know, they could be areas of like divine truth and divine power and divine wisdom and divine love and divine order and communication. You know, there's different aspects that each soul has a certain strength in, that they've used a lot. And this is the energy that is being applied and it comes through you. And so, so we've got that. And then from the Akashic Records, you can learn about your spirit guides and what your life lessons are and how aligned you are with, you know, the divine energies. And then, of course, if you take it even further, you can go and find out what is blocking you and what is restricting you, and you can clear those out. And so, so that is one of the big things that you can learn from the Akashic Records. So let me see here, skipping over here. So your soul, you know, experiences life through our bodies, through the temple of our bodies. And so we're all, you know, we're all tied together. You can't just have one without the other. So let's see. So how can you understand your soul, how it's expressing through your birth codes, through your birth charts? And so let's take, for example, you know, in the Akashic Record, you find out, you know, what your soul major themes are, and the major energies that your soul is working with. But, you know, how do you take that and put it into physical life, into your reality, into your daily life? And that's where the birth codes and your birth charts can come in and give you some of the details, some of the bigger picture, the fine prints, you know, the fine details in the bigger picture. And so, for example, if your soul's dominant theme has to do with the urge to improve things, to find a way to make things better, and your soul's dominant energy that it's working with is you're working with divine power, which divine power relates to freedom and responsibility and empowerment and self-sufficiency and independence. That's kind of the themes that go with divine power. You know, it's like, well, how do you take and apply this into your daily life? So your birth charts help to define the details of your personality, you know, the life areas, the talents, the tools that you bring with you. They can supply the details of how you go about expressing your soul's desires and who your gifts are for. Contained within your elemental astrology and numerology and human design charts are the details that support your soul's essential themes. They either support them or they limit or just obstruct those themes, simply for the experience that the soul wants to have. So once you understand these patterns, then you have a better idea about how you express yourself and how you can do that more effectively and more powerfully. So one of the biggest benefits I've heard from my clients about understanding these core soul energies is that it's very validating. A part of you already knows who you are, but people tell us we should be this way and we should do that and we should act a certain way and we should do this career and we should have these relationships, and society says that this is okay to do. The relationship should look like this and your work should look like that. Well, the thing is, you may or may not be designed to be that way. And then there's other things that happen, like you don't want to rock the boat because you don't want to deal with the displeasure of other people. So what happens is you end up hiding your soul's expression. You cover yourself up. You make yourself so you're not very noticeable. You're kind of like in this very narrow little rut, so that people don't. So you look like you fit in, and the truth is you don't. But that's okay. So the thing about understanding the fact that you are a physical expression of your soul, and your soul has certain themes that it is passing through you. You radiate these energies, whether you want to admit it or not. And the more you try to hide it, they still come out. So it's just better to understand who they are. And then you can also realize that you are okay just the way you are. And you are unique and you are precious. So just a second here. That wasn't my soul calling, that was somebody else. Once you connect with your divine nature, you have access to an inner guidance that helps you thrive, bringing you the clarity you need to make for wise decisions and the wisdom of how to use your vital forces, your energy, wisely, and the courage also to say no if whatever it is that you're being offered doesn't align with your inner being. So the beauty of it is that you don't need to do anything special to live your soul's purpose. You're already your soul expressing into your soul is already expressing into the outer world. It's just a matter of recognizing and connecting and aligning who you think you are with who you really are, and as a divine being. So all you have to do is be yourself, and then you'll naturally create meaning and fulfillment in your life, and you will also take actions that are in alignment with the essence of who you are. So we are going to move on to help you understand how this works together. I'm going to have a couple of examples here. So here's one example. So in this particular person, the soul is designed to use divine power and divine wisdom to make things better. So you can, I'm not going to worry about that. So as you can see in the astrology chart, this person has things very focused in one house, in one life area, and with the particular energies of Leo and fire. So, passion, self-expression, leadership, creativity, with childlike fun, all in the house of transformation. So it's like shining the light on what needs to be changed, and with the ascendant as in fire and Sagittarius, about finding the truth of what needs to be changed, so that and finding a creative, fun way to do that. So so in numerology, the soul essence number is 3, which is all about creativity. And then the life purpose is 4, which is about structure and stability and loyalty and working hard. And the destiny number is the number 6, which is about service. Interestingly enough, the mastery and the soul urge numbers are 11, which has to do with using your psychic abilities and having the courage to take the step into the unknown and stand on your own 2 feet. And the soul focus based on the letter, the first vowel in your first name, is about freedom and communication. So, and then we'll just go over to the human design chart. So in this particular case, her whole theme has to do with the past and telling new stories about the past and understanding the past has a gift, letting go of the things that don't work and taking those things that do work and moving forward, into it. So by combining the whole theme here, we've got the soul that is using divine power and wisdom to make things better. So she's got a lot of creativity, and the theme of it is about transforming. So the idea could be that she is taking the area that is being transformed has to do with how to empower a person and to, making things better. And part of the empowerment has to do with understanding the past and dealing with the past, and then rewriting and recreating a new story of the past so that it is more empowering and more down to earth with, following the laws of divine wisdom, which has to do with universal laws as opposed to truth, which is more subjective. The universal wisdom is divine laws that apply to everything. So that's one example, and I have another example. So this person's soul is designed to bring divine love, and her soul is one of those stable souls. They're stable as a North Star, and they bring stability, especially to family and groups. And so that's their theme, their soul theme. So she has her sun in Cancer, her moon's in Capricorn, and her ascendant is in Pisces. So though Pisces and Cancer are both astrology signs that are very much about love. Cancer is about loving, familiar love, being the cosmic mother, and Pisces is more about being the humanitarian, unconditionally loving, the Christ consciousness. So this theme is being very supported. This divine love theme is being very supported. Now, she has a soul essence of 23-5, which 5 is all about change, but 23 is the star of the lion, and that is it's like living life to the fullest. And if you look in her human design chart, she has the gate of struggle. So she's going to be really testing what is worth living, what brings meaning to her life. And so, and her soul urge and her mastery numbers are also the number of 11, which is about using your psychic abilities and standing on your own 2 feet and stepping into the unknown with courage. And she also is about her soul focus. This lifetime is about freedom and communication. So if you go take a look at her human design chart, see her sun is in the gate 15, which is about humanitarian love. And she's also, her unconscious sun is in the gate 25, which is about taking direction from spirit. And she's got the whole centering circuit from the sacral center on up around through gate 10 and all the way through 25 to 51. So she's got that whole centering circuit. And that whole centering circuit has a big theme about self-love and love. And so it's like her mission here, that the personality and the tools that she brought with her into this lifetime is really a strong mission statement to support the divine love that she's here to teach people and demonstrate to people and show people what, how to do this. And the thing about this chart, it's very challenging because not only does she have the gate of struggle, but it's I know her, and so she struggles with this whole theme of caring about people, but then is she being selfish? But then on the other hand, it's automatic for her to stand up for herself, and so it's like, and she gets after people if they aren't taking care of themselves. So I mean, it's like, her real theme here is about teaching divine love, or teaching how to love yourself, and so her soul is really expressing out through herself. I mean, this is like really clear. Whereas in this chart, it was the expression of the divine power and wisdom. The wisdom can come out through storytelling. That can be the theme of how these this person can express, that her soul can express the divine power. She's got a lot of intense energy too, with all those planets in one house in the astrology chart. That's like, and a lot of fire. There's like 7 aspects in fire, and so it's like there's a lot of passion here. And since she's a projector, she's got to figure out how to balance that, and so that makes it very interesting. So that just gives you a sampling of how, of how the soul can express into your physical form, and how the birth charts can help kind of give you some clues, some guidance. It just to kind of help firm up, so that you have a better idea of what who you are here, and what you're trying to do. And the thing about it is you have to be patient, because it's like learning about yourself is like peeling an onion. You discover something new about yourself, and then you say, oh, good. And then you realize, hey, there's a little bit more. There's a deeper interpretation about this. And so you say, oh, good. And then you find, you integrate that, and then you say, oh, there's this and this and this. And then you integrate that. And I mean, these are all aspects. So it takes time. So this isn't something you do overnight. It's something it's a life process, which makes life fun, which is why the soul is here, because it wants to experience things. And so, so I don't know, do we have any questions coming up so far?
So far, people have been sharing something about their chart. Michelle had a question right at the very beginning. What was the doctor that discovered the way to the soul? Duncan, what was his last name?
Duncan McDougall.
So,
yeah, it was a study back in 1907, and I guess what he did was, I mean, it's kind of surprising that he figured this out so long ago, but he made special equipment, weighing equipment, and when people died, he measured the difference between what, while they were living and when they had died, and it was 21 grams. It's hard to, I mean, that's a tiny little amount. You would hardly perceive it, but he figured it out, and he published it in a journal. So yeah.
And then other people on Facebook were just sharing their, like, Citrine said she's a hermit opportunist, but you really didn't get into profiles that much. 2-4.
Oh, I just barely touched the surface, but with interpreting these, I mean, there's so much more that I could have gone into with
What
both.
was very, very interesting.
Yeah, well, I just love the way everything is. So some charts I've looked at, and you've got the soul theme, like the second one, the soul theme, and the chart just so flat on supports it all the way across the board. And then other charts, I've looked at, and you've got the soul theme, and you've got something right there that's like a challenge. It's a roadblock. And so it's like the challenge is, okay, how does the soul express through this roadblock and still experience? Well, the thing is, the soul really doesn't care how it gets to where it does. It just wants the experience. So but it's interesting because here it is, you've got this energy that's wanting to push through you all the time. It's always there. It's just who we are. We walk down the street and everybody can read our energy even though we don't know it. Or maybe they aren't aware of it either. But, it's really interesting how the charts either support or they can put little obstacles in the way, or they can redirect that energy into a different way. I mean, it's amazing. I love doing this because I never know what I'm going to
And
find.
the 3 different ways. So Coach Elaine says, how do you know what soul family you belong to? Is it how do you know what soul family you belong to? Is it revealed in the Akashic Records? Or is it
Yes.
something you can see through the human design chart or something else?
No, I haven't figured out if you can figure that out through the charts yet. I'm still experimenting, but generally, to begin with, you go through this through the Akashic Record.
And
So,
do you want to take a couple more questions?
sure.
Donnelly says on Facebook, I'm a reflector, 4-6, right angle cross of consciousness, and would love to know more how to relate to our changing times.
Relate towards what?
Our changing times. Would knowing, some of the things that you're showing, the different energies in the charts that you're showing right now, help people to relate?
That would. I mean, I come from the point of view that the more I know about myself, the more I can catch when I'm being triggered. And so, in fact, I just had one. I'm taking another soul realignment class on vital energy, vital force energy, and I just had a real eye opener with that one because I was working through that, and it's like, so okay, I'll just say what it is. So I found out that I am one of my major themes that is it has to do with service. Okay, but the problem is I am expending too much energy in the area of service. So, okay, so how do you solve that? And so, of course, then part of the protocol is, well, where are you doing it, and who, with, what, and how? But just by that understanding that I am expending too much energy by being overly serviced, I mean, feeling obligated and feeling like guilty if I don't serve, and that, I mean, all these things that I felt, it's like, committed and well, obligation and guilt, those are 2 really good ones. But once I understand that, then when a situation comes up and someone says, oh, can you do this for me? And then I have a little check back in the back of my mind that says, okay, am I over serving or not? Is this supportive or not? So when you know things about yourself, then you have a way to say, is this serving me or not?
So it was I find that interesting, knowing that you're a projector and that possibly service came up when you looked at your human design or your astrology chart, that service would be a main point of what your soul came here to do. So interesting that through you said an Akashic Record or a soul code, which is a different modality,
Right.
You found out that one of the lessons that you are to learn is service, you want to be of service, but maybe you need to be more discerning. So it was
Right.
and you could see that in all, so it was like a revelation to know, I'm of too much service, which might be a projector thing, many projector things.
Well, and then also I've got, the gate 50, which is all about being responsible and guilt if I don't take care of people. So there we go. So it's fascinating because when you got a theme, well, in my numerology, the number 6, which is my destiny career number, that's all about service and being the cosmic mother and taking care of everything. So it's really easy to burn out if you're overly serving. And then the other thing is, so yeah, in these different charts you see where service can, this theme of service when in its highest potential is a really powerful thing.
Well,
But
it is
on
a powerful.
what's that?
Yeah, I was going to say, on its highest potential, people, it's a wonderful archetype to
Right,
be of service. But part of it is when you, like you were saying, when you find other awarenesses that bring to light that you have to be more discerning of the archetype, 'cause-
right, yeah,
and protect your energy.
right,
Do you want to take another question?
sure.
Okay. How, okay, Micah asks, how did you get the numerology codes on the left under the astrology chart?
Their
That's one of your,
calculation. I mean,
I'm sorry, it's one of your modalities that you
yeah,
use
it's
in your
it's just a
readings.
calculation. Yeah, with the numerology. Yeah, I do numerology too. I've got a numerology book too. So, but yeah, and so yeah, so I just, well, I love, yeah, I got the gate 48, so I love studying. My moon's in Aquarius in my astrology chart at the, with the number 12, which is the number of the student. So, I mean, it's 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 just automatic that I love to study. And then of course and part of my soul theme is about taking bits and pieces from all over the place and putting them together in something new, creating something new out of bits and pieces from other places. And so I guess, yes, that's why I mean, we're doing it automatically. We're doing our soul purpose automatically. We just haven't, engaged the mind and the heart and the soul haven't all engaged, because once we realize that what we are doing automatically, instinctively, and, I mean, putting aside, emotional instinct, but just from our heart, we're doing it. And it's just becoming, I guess, really what it is. It's like opening up our eyes and being able to see who we are and
or
see that
give
we're doing it already.
or being able to give words to what you're already experiencing.
Well, that's true too. And that's where the validation part comes in, because it's like somebody might say, well, I've always loved to study, about animals or whatever it is. And then you find out that, well, this is all part of their design. There are some soul groups that are more akin to or aligned with animals than others, or soul energy centers. There's a whole bunch. I just barely touched the tip of the iceberg with these two sets of charts, because there's so much that you can learn about yourself. And
Um,
it's, yeah.
and it's very interesting that you take all these diverse things and meld them together. I'm wondering, do you want another question, or did you want to continue on and take
Um,
questions towards the end?
yeah, let's go ahead. And I got a couple of different practices I'd like to share with you, and then we can take some more questions. So like I mentioned before, the vetiver meditation with the vetiver oil, essential oil, that was really an eye opener for me, to because I've been dabbling with the soul for quite a while, for quite a few years, and learning about it and the Akashic Record and readings and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, it's like, okay, the soul is over there and I'm over here and we're not really quite connected. But this connected me. And so, and there's more, how would you say, more substance, more power. I just feel like I'm more complete by being more connect. The more I connect to my soul, the more complete I feel, if that makes any sense. But anyway, so what you do with the vetiver is you take a drop of the essential oil and you put it on a fingertip. And then you take and you can rub your fingertips together. And then you put them on the base of your foot. There's a little divot, indent, just behind the ball of your foot going towards your heel. And that's the kidney 1 point. And you just hold that there. And then you just take and imagine that you have strong roots going deep into the earth. And you breathe and just, it's like a meditation, just relax and enjoy the feeling. And then you can take and you can imagine that these roots pass through this physical plane and into the other dimensions. And all this little fine network of roots connects into, into all your soul essences, basically. And then you, through these roots, your soul essence can communicate back into you, into your physical form. And so you just enjoy this feeling for as long as you want. And then when you're done, thank the vetiver oil. So I'll share with you what little meditation or the little affirmation that I say when I do this. And so I thank the vetiver for sharing its divine wisdom with me, and I receive the vetiver divine wisdom into my being. And I thank vetiver for reminding me that I have deep roots that anchor my physical form into this earth, so that I am substantial. And these deep roots extend beyond this physical earth into the realms of my soul and can anchor me firmly into the essence of my soul. And my soul is my home and my foundation, and provides me the support and the nourishment that I need to thrive in this outer world. And my soul communicates to me through my roots, so that I am an expression of my soul in this physical world. I am my soul, and my soul is me. So that's what I say. So I've been doing this for quite a while, and it grounds me. It makes me feel more substantial. It kind of like all the stuff that's going on in the outer world kind of like separates it from, it's like I can handle it. And so it's been a good practice for me to do. So the other thing I want to share with you is about a gratitude. Gratitude and appreciation have the effect of opening your heart. And when your heart is open, it's easier to feel your soul, hear the subtle, gentle messages of your soul, because the soul speaks in very quiet terms. And so you can do gratitude and appreciation all day long, wherever you are. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what's happening around you. You can just be grateful for the smallest little things, like you have something to eat, or you have some coffee, or you have a place to sit, or a job, or whatever it is. And, and you can appreciate yourself and appreciate what you can do, and appreciate that the sun is out, or that you got a little bit of rain for your garden, or that there's trees out, or you can appreciate your pets, or you can just appreciate anything. And when you appreciate that, like, raises your vibration. And so when your vibration is higher, the stuff going on in the outer world is not quite so oppressive, and you're able to go through it with more calm, with a calmer state of mind and more presence. And it just makes life easier. So one thing I want to mention is that as empaths, which I'm sure most of you are here that are listening to this, there is so much energy in the global consciousness right now because of all the COVID and the COVID economy and all the political stuff, all the stuff going on. There's a lot of energy, and I'm sure you're feeling it. All of you are feeling it to some degree or another. And this, as empaths, we take this in, and it's really important for us to be able to neutralize it so that we are not become angry and unhappy and fearful and all those things that are floating around in the airwaves around us. And so one of the things that I've learned, I've been practicing this for a while too, is about body awareness. So pay attention, because a lot of times, depending on how your intuition works, you may know that you're picking up something from somewhere, But most of the time, it's very subtle. It's like a subtle pressure on you. It's like if you, it's like when you're go from hot weather where it's, the air is real light and free to really cold and damp and foggy where you can feel the moisture against your skin. It's sort of that thing, only you can't see it. But so the more you can ground yourself and the more gratitude and appreciation you can feel for yourself, and then also listening to your body to be able to understand when it is being affected, because our body it's like a huge radar for one thing, or a huge antenna. And the other thing is that it's a lot smarter than our minds are. So what you can do is learn to listen to your body, learn to get in touch with your body, and become more sensitive to how it is relating to the world. So one thing you can do, one thing I've done, is you can start by just breathing and letting yourself ground. Imagine your deep roots going in and anchoring to the earth. And then notice what you feel. Just notice. I mean, you have tension in your neck, your shoulders, your back, your legs, your hands, your throat. I mean, where is the energy not flowing smoothly? And then if you want to start practicing using your body as a dowser, for dowsing, for getting information about what's going on, go ahead and do something like, say, something that's an untruth. Like, I'm a woman, so I would say, I'm a man. Or you'd say, your name is something it's not. And then notice how you feel. Just breathe and notice how you feel. And notice if you have tension someplace, something, a constriction someplace. Does your energy stop flowing so smoothly? Do you feel more contracted? Now take and speak a truth, like, I am a woman. My name is Elaine. And feel what your body does. Does it expand? Does energy flow? Do parts of your body relax? So this is something, it takes a while to practice. And it takes a while to become sensitive to this. But pretty soon, you'll be able to tell use your body as a dowsing rod, as a pendulum, to be able to understand what's going on in your environment and know, okay, I'm picking up energies that are not mine. I can let them go. Or, do some sort of a clearing effect to let them go. So I hope that makes sense to all of you. So I want to just let you know that it's not what you do as much as who you are. So the more connected you are with your soul, and your soul expresses through your heart, the less stress you have. Your soul essence, is radiating from you all the time, and it touches others. And when you allow yourself, your true essence to radiate from you, you are touching other people in a positive way. And this is a way that you can bring peace and harmony to our world that is in such chaos right now. We have to do it one person at a time, and by raising our vibration and letting that be transmitted. So your soul will guide you to what physical actions to take. And then what you do, that's what's fun. You will do what is fun for you, because your soul's, it'll accept any experience, but generally speaking, the soul will guide you to what is most fulfilling. So, any more questions?
I did have some from previous. I don't see it. Gilletta on Facebook said, stuck on burnout and depression since 3 years. Committed myself to group therapy for 3 days a week, but I feel human design could help me reconnect to myself, whereas therapy looks back to where it all went wrong. I want to look forward and take responsibility for my own life and find my true soul purpose. Do you
Mm-hmm.
agree with that?
Yeah, I do. Therapy does go back and try to dig up all the, the bad stuff, which there is a value to that, but you don't want to rehash what's there. You want to know that that is in the past, and then you want to figure out how to take that what is in the past that you've learned, in other words, the gifts that you have learned from whatever it is, and move ahead. And so, yeah, any of these modalities, the human design, anything, the more you understand about yourself, and the more, see, part of the thing too is that when you've cut off from your soul, because if you look at your soul as your life essence, if you cut off or restrict it, then you don't have the life force that helps you be healthy and vitality and have an optimistic point of view. And so understanding and opening up to your soul and to yourself will help. It'll help a lot. It'll help bring you new hope in life and new meaning in life, because a lot of depression has to do with not having meaning, not having something worth living for. Something else is taking your life force away from you. I mean, if you want to look at it strictly as energy, something has got more passion to live than you do. So yeah, so it's reclaiming your own passion. So yeah, any of these tools will help. Human design will help. Any of these tools will help.
She did say, thank you for addressing my story. We had another question on Facebook. Do you think projectors need grounding more than other types? I'm a projector, self-projected authority, and she's also interested in doing the vetiver meditation.
Oh, okay. Let me see. I'm trying to get this thing to stop sharing.
It's gone. We're here.
There. Okay.
You're good.
There we go. Okay. What was the first part of the question?
Do you think projectors need grounding more than other types?
Projectors have a challenge because we pick up everybody's energies. They're doing their life force energy, and so we need something to be able to be detached from that, so we can get back into our own natural energetic flow. Or I guess you'd say projectors tend to move more in cycles. We're out doing things, then we come back in and kind of like build up our energy again, then go back out and do something. So if we're always around a generator type, we never get that break. And so grounding will help. But I think it's a little bit more that we need besides just grounding. Grounding will help keep us from flying all over the place. But I think what we really need is we have to have time to ourselves where we can sort of like chill out and let everybody go and get back into our own personal rhythm.
And more of that connecting to the soul, right?
Yeah.
Or finding your connections to allowing your soul to express.
Right.
Like on Facebook, and I know that you've heard this too, isn't Karen Parker saying that projectors are healing the world just by being?
I think so. I think we're busy working on the invisible realms, just, when I first heard that, it made perfect sense because, I already knew about the energy grids of the world. And then when she said that, it's like, yep, it made perfect sense. We're busy. And then when you go, into the finer details of the soul blueprints or the soul, profiles, some souls are actually designed. They were the ones that designed this whole earth blueprint that we are experiencing. And so they come back and, when they reincarnate, they're here to patch the holes in the grid and fix the problems. And so there actually are soul types that do that work. But I think that generally speaking, I can see that the projectors, we get, I think we get our energy from someplace else. That's just my opinion.
Well,
But
that's a cool opinion. Now, I just want to make sure when you're talking soul types, that's actually something that people would find out from like an Akashic Record
right,
reading,
right,
correct?
right,
Because types in human design, soul types, so
right.
many types that we can go.
Maybe I should say soul families. That might
Um,
be easier.
she said, thank you, Elaine. It was a helpful answer. But you just, uh, do you want, uh, do you want to take another question or
Sure.
do you have more?
No, I'm
Me-
I'm 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 pretty well finished.
Okay. Mega on Facebook says, I'm a 2-5 hermit heretic manifesting generator. How do I handle myself and my work in these challenging times? And what can I expect?
Hmm. Okay. Um, I guess it would be helpful if I had a clue of what kind of work she's doing. I mean, she
Well,
doesn't have to say what she's doing, but I mean, kind of, I mean, she office work or coaching work or does she have her own business versus?
well, I'm waiting to see if she'll post that. But let's go general because
Okay.
part of what you were giving us when you were giving us tools that would help us actually ground and then connect to the soul. And wouldn't that help with a manifesting generator too? That I mean,
Yeah.
where you
The
don't
thing
have
I,
to necessarily, because I know that you've worked through this one earlier, but it's not necessarily what you do to bring the money in as much as it's connecting, allowing you to connect to your soul so that you can,
right.
you probably
Well,
will express this better. So
the thing because I've got some manifesting generator friends, and I think grounding would, uh, uh, now I know Karen says, manifesting generators can't slow down, but, um, but actually, if they do, like, be a little more, just a little more conscious of what they're doing, maybe that's what it is. Because it's like the ones I know now, one I know, she's a little more level-headed. The other ones I know are just like flitting all over the place, and they're going so fast that they're leaving a trail of the details that haven't gotten done. And so somebody has to go back and either point it out, or they just don't get done, or whatever. But if but if you can slow down, just this is just generally speaking, from my perspective as a projector, watching a manifesting generator, if they can slow down just a tiny little bit so that they can focus just a tiny little bit,
it doesn't mean
then
they don't have to do multiple things, but just
no, you can do
slow
all
down.
sorts of things. It's just like maybe you have to make a little checklist or something of, I mean, what you haven't gotten done. And while you're multitasking, you have lots of lists or something, but just,
By the way, she did post, she's a single mom going
okay,
a little all over the place
okay,
during
yeah.
these challenging times.
Yeah, so this has been tough. It's been tricky because she's got to do homeschooling probably, or home care, and then plus trying to bring some money in to pay for all the bills. So yeah, it's. I mean, a manifesting generator has the ability to be able to multitask these things very well, but it can also be very tiring because maybe what I might suggest is for her to take a few minutes and actually try to jot down what is the most important things. And that way, instead of going 20 different places, maybe she can only go 10. And that will, that will make her life a lot better. It'll make it feel like it's like you want to feel like you're in control.
Okay, we're coming up at the top of the hour. I had two questions come in
Okay.
over in Zoom. One was, actually, I had three. Lisa asks, I'm curious if you briefly describe your design, Elaine.
Okay. Which one? And in my soul profile, I am in the serial, I'm in the Syrian family, which is all about if something can, if something can be made better, then I want to make it better. So that's the theme. It's always playing out. I tell you, it's always playing out. And so the other thing is my two energy centers are the divine power and divine wisdom, primarily divine power, which, I've been hiding from my power because it's like power is scary. I don't want to be a powerful woman. I mean, things happen to powerful women. And so that's been a whole journey of coming out of the closet to become more powerful. And so then, well, actually that first chart was actually my chart. So the numerology, I'm a number 3. So, I'm highly creative. My destiny, the tools I came in with is working, being able to work and loyalty and honesty and all those things. And then the destiny is about service. The astrology is I'm a Leo, and the transformation, and then
Lisa says thanks.
What's that?
Lisa says thank you.
Yes. So yes, it's a very complex, but yeah.
It would probably take an hour to go full dip.
Yeah, go back and look at that first chart and you'll see all the stuff.
Okay, 2 more questions, and I guess 3, okay? Diane on Zoom says, I'm a 6/2 emotional manifestor with Sun in Leo in the 11th, the Moon in Cancer in the 10th. Do you have any special advice or a message for manifestors? We've hit almost all the other types.
Yeah, I know. Manifestors say, I can see where a manifestor has a real challenge. So your Sun is in Leo, in which house? It was
11th.
The 11th house. That's about friends and groups and networking and the future. It's ruled by Uranus. And the moon was in the 10th?
Correct, in Cancer.
In Cancer. So that brings, the 10th house is your house of career. And so that brings a lot of sensitivity, emotional intuition, a lot of emotional awareness and a lot of intuition into your career, into how you present, how people see you in the world, the kind of business that you do. And then the Sun in Leo is more about, so, you might be with your groups and in your friends, you might be the one that's the leader of it, or at least have leadership ideas or new creative ideas that are fun, because Leo is also the little kid that likes to have fun.
And then the manifestor part is probably...
The manifestor part's interesting because, you have the ability to just initiate things. But I can see that as a manifestor, if you are doubting yourself, which Leo, the downside of Leo is if you're not getting the attention or the recognition that you want, then you feel like it slows you down. It makes you doubt yourself. And so I don't know if you're experiencing that at all with as a manifestor, if because you have the ability to initiate and go for things, but it's very easy to doubt yourself. I don't know if that's something that you've experienced or not.
Okay, I'm going to give you, depending on wondering, do you want the 2 more questions or do you want to wrap it up? We've already gone over the hour.
I guess it's however works for you. I'm fine, but whatever works for you.
Well, we'll take these last 2 questions, one from Ike and one from Coach Elaine.
Okay.
Ike asks, I'm a 1-5 generator. I have a lot of 6 lines in my personality. My soul number is 3. What's an important theme for me?
Okay, you're 1-5. And so the 1 likes to explore, research. The 5 is more like a cosmic mirror. So, and the 3 is creativity and expression, and it's actually an emotional number. It's part of the emotional triad. So self-expression. So this is interesting. Oh, this is an interesting thing, because I can see how you get sort of wrapped up in a little loop here, because you want to research and research and research, and then you want to express it. But then it depends on how the other people that are around you reflect it back to you. So this is a kind of an interesting dynamic that can happen. But basically, though, you're still wanting to express what it is that you have researched. And the trick is to not let what other people think affect you. That's probably one of the biggest challenges with trying to live your soul purpose, for one thing. But the other thing, as a 3 or whatever you are, because 3 can be very vulnerable, because here you are, you're expressing, the heart of who you are. And if it doesn't go over well, which the 5 you can get blamed for things, or people can really, or the other side of it, people can really support you. The whole thing about that is about self-expression. It's really important to be able to take what you've learned and be able to express it.
So that's an important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then final question. How do we know what our energy centers are? Because you've been talking throughout about our energy centers.
Okay, from the soul perspective, at the soul level, you have to go into the Akashic Record for that. And that's one of the things you can learn from the Akashic Record is what is your strongest energy centers.
So that's really something that they would have to have an Akashic Record reading for.
Right.
Okay. Now, is there a wrapping up thing?
Sure. So after all, we've had so much fun talking. So if you'd like to see a bigger picture of yourself and experience some, the integration of these different aspects of yourself, you're invited to contact me and get a soul purpose reading. I've got, right now I've got it actually at a discounted price on the Human Design Store. Just go to the Human Design Store, click on vendors, click on my store name, which is The Awakened Heroine, and you'll see what I have there. So, I just want to part with saying that your soul is your most important part of who you are. And when you get to know it, you make choices that align with it, then you have the capacity to really enjoy your life. And so I just want to leave you with that.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for letting me talk today. I really enjoyed it. And I hope I've given you some ideas.